Hello everyone. So Deepwoken is in a rough spot right now. Bugs have always been a thing, sure, but lately it feels like they're taking over. And with updates dropping later and later, people expect something big, something polished, but instead we just get more and more problems piled up on top of the other already existent problems. Let's talk a bit about the state of the game. Right now, bugs are ruining core mechanics, stuff that should be reliable just isn't at all. Combat interaction feels off, movement glitches out, and sometimes entire abilities like mantras or talents that haven't worked in years, I don't think they've ever worked, just don't work when they should. It's not just one or two small issues either. It's an entire pile of problems stacking on top of each other. Some of these bugs have been around for ages, while others seem to pop out of nowhere after every update. For example, if you fall in the void, instead of unlocking your bell and going into layer 2, you just wipe. That's it, you just wipe. So you have to go through all the trouble of making a restore ticket in the Deepwoken server, which can take up to a couple of days, and this has been an issue for ages. And when you're fighting for your life in a permadeath game, that kind of stuff isn't just annoying, it's straight up game breaking. And it's not just the big game breaking stuff, there are a ton of smaller bugs that make everything feel even more unpolished. The new walking animations, they used to make you look like you were galloping. Also, Blade Harper's Decimate was supposed to work with Fist, but even after a fix, it still didn't. Same thing with Blood Curdle, it took 3 different patch notes just to make it so you can vent out of it properly. There are bizarre visual glitches too, like NPCs randomly unlocking their resonance, which is just insane. Like, to what amount of spaghetti code do you have to have behind all the features so the mobs can get resonance? That's just insane. Also, attunementless mantras still have no attribute scaling. Then there are the balance changes that feel more like accidental guts, like the slight updraft nerf that actually gutted its damage by 30%. 30% is in no way, shape or form a slight nerf. And don't even get me started on the world events. Every new one has launched with some kind of major bug, but at this point that's just expected. Voidwalker has some issues too, like its XP is still ridiculously low for a PvP oriented origin. You can also just void out while fishing. Juicy Snack, the Bloodrun mantra, still does nothing. The Frost talent that states that your frost is considerably more intense has done nothing since release. And also, the newly added Gladiator challenge still doesn't work because opponents don't even get put in the same instance server. Even an enchant that most depth gankers use, Nemesis, is bugged. Its 20% damage buff just doesn't apply properly, and weapons like the Serrated War Spear, Kiersglaive and Kierswinter, which is one of my favorite weapons, the Kierswinter, which should cause bleeding, just don't. Every other bleed weapon works as intended, but these, still bugged, still ignored. Here's the other problem, updates. They take longer and longer and longer to drop, which makes sense if they're working on something huge. Like, I think the first delay we've had in a while was when world events dropped. And we understood because we already know that the devs start testing and programming everything at the end of the week, which is understandable. The delays are understandable in that case because it's a huge update. But now, for the smaller updates, when they finally do release, because for example this week's update released on a Sunday afternoon for me. For the new guys I'm speaking, they used to release on Friday evening or Friday afternoon. Now it's Sunday. And when they do finally release, it's just underwhelming. Players wait every week expecting something groundbreaking, new content, better balancing, major fixes. What do we get instead? We get a PvE gut. We get changes to vision shaper that no one asked for. We get changes that bring even more bugs into the game. We got some new regalias that sure are cool, but for example the bell one, there's a regalia which spawns you with bell. I just want to wipe the slot because it doesn't let me have a second life in depths, and if I try to depth save someone, it's weird not having a second life. Also, don't even get me started on the bug where every NPC, including ferryman, would just vent your every attack. they would just simply predict whenever you use the mantra or an M1 and vent out of it. And for new players that just started playing the game a week ago, for them that was normal. They had no clue that was a bug, that wasn't intended, and they were trying to search for fixes. And for them, that's the first and only impression of Deepwoken as a whole. For these kinds of new people, new players, you don't get second chances. They'll just look at it, they'll say it's way too hard, it's impossible to predict events, and just never touch Deepwoken again. It's frustrating because Deepwoken just has so much potential. The world, the combat, the systems, it's all there. But when things feel half-baked and when patches introduce more problems than they fix, it wears down the community's patience by a lot. So what's the fix? Deepwoken doesn't need any more rushed updates. It needs stability at this point. Quality control, testing. I know it's already been stated for months at this point, but when you have the other game that devs are working on, the Cursed Gear 1, and it's exactly the same as Done VR said. When the devs say, yo, it's testing time, you gotta hop on, they instantly get 100 plus people for testing. In Deepwoken, not even the devs play the game, man. Like, when they first released the new walking animations, if the devs would have just hopped in a normal server, took their weapon out and walked 2 steps forward, they would have seen the bug, the issue, and they would have fixed it. This was stated in another video of someone's as well. And nobody's expecting a bug-free experience. Of course, it's a Roblox game. We have like 4 or 5 active developers. But at the very least, we need improvements that don't break 5 other things in the process. And I get it. Game development isn't easy. Deepwoken is ambitious and the devs work hard. But at this point, the game feels it's balancing on a tightrope. If the trend continues, people are gonna walk away. Do the devs expect that people are gonna play a bug-ridden game on and on and on just because they got PvE? The Gale PvE, Galbraith PvE, my bad. When they got Gale PvE, they'll just think, yeah, these guys are gonna need to make another PvE, so it's more grinding, more farming. Well, no, because they don't love the game. The people are gonna walk away, not because they don't love the game, but because they're tired of fighting against its problems and the tedious progression that everyone states. Like, even in the depth saviors, we've had countless people just quit the game because they said they're wiping builds, which is normal, but because the progression system is so tedious at this point, it just gets boring at some point. And I get the new regalias are trying to fix these things, but it's very artificial in a way. You don't improve this core system of a game just by, yeah, when you spawn you have like a 5% chance of getting 50 knowledge. No, you have to modify the basics. Oh, my bad. You have to modify the basics at that point. That's where the issue is. Because Deep as a game has evolved a lot, but the older systems haven't. Like, for example, if you go with Voidwalker and you grab a bounty that's your level, you still get like 3 investment points. That's all. 3 investment points after a fight on a origin that's mostly based on PvP, which is just insane to me. Bugs have always been a part of Deepwoken, but right now they're kinda ruining the whole game. What do you guys think? Are you still enjoying the game, or are the issues getting to you? Hopefully things turn around soon because Deepwoken just deserves better. Also, if you like the builds I used in this video or in any of my other videos, go check out my Discord server, discord.gg/deepsaviors, where you'll find every single one of the builds I've ever used. That's all, and thank you for watching.